Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Ritt. I'm an artist and a tarot reader. And today I felt inspired to speak to you because I had a really interesting personal revelation about something that has really been weighing me down, and that's just bad memories of other people that are like ancient. And I know that this is something we all go through, and we all just have moments of really brooding on stuff that we know on one level doesn't matter, and on another it's like a mosquito that you might want to swat away. So yeah, the revelation I had about that is that I don't actually dislike any one person. I dislike the memories that I have of certain people, and that's within my control. And so it was just such a beautiful thing to really have a light go on in my head about. And that may be a fleeting thing, but I can tell that it's an important thing. And so just at this moment, it is really, really making me feel good. And then, as that's been sinking in, I felt inspired to just do a little reading, a general reading for those of you I'm speaking with right now around the theme of personal freedom. I know that that's a big one, and I know that it is the stuff of life. And so I decided to just pull a few cards and see where our collective energies are at around the theme of personal freedom. And I got a really beautiful reading. So first, I just want to say that a lot of the cards that I pulled are of the fire element, and the fire element is all about personal freedom, autonomy, personal power, adventure, joy. It is, again, it's the stuff of life, just as personal revelations like I'm experiencing for me are my stuff of life. So it felt very fitting that so many fire cards would come up. So the first card I pulled, and I'll just go ahead and grab it, is the King of Wands. Now, this card, again, this is the king of the fire element. And King of Wands is all about personal power. And so the first message that came to me is that we have the power to really grab a hold of wherever we're at and just steer it in a better direction. And that has nothing to do with anybody else, which is the freeing part. You can do that by walking away from a conversation that doesn't feel good to have. You can do that by taking some time to meditate or really do whatever nourishes your soul. And that can be the tiniest thing. That can be getting a cup of tea or taking a nap. So that's the first card that came up. Now, the second one is the Magician. The Magician is also, so he's part of what's called the Major Arcana, and he is fiery by nature and also all about personal transformation. And these are transformative times that we are experiencing. And so again, it just felt very fitting that this message is just being built upon, that we have the power to change directions. And even if it's not in that moment, we have a greater power overall that can transcend whatever problems we're experiencing in that moment. And that will allow us to move in more of the direction that we want. So then the card right in the middle, again, fire, 6 of Wands, and again, wands are the fire element. 6 of Wands is all about victory. And so the way this reading feels to me is that we as a collective, as we go through things that are just so intense and so divisive and so loaded, we come out the other side and transform. And that is a huge personal victory. So however you are experiencing that personal transformation, it is there and you can trust it. And you can trust that it is happening as all of these details are unfolding around you, whatever those are. So then the next card I pulled really just speaks to all of the struggle that we as a collective have been experiencing. So 5 of Wands, and again, more fire. 5 of Wands, sometimes it's when you feel like clubbing somebody else over the head, but usually you're doing it to yourself in one way or another. So however you find yourself beating up against yourself, coming up against all of the hard places that just don't seem to be able to get smoothed in any way. Very often it's when you're fighting yourself in one way or another. And the way I'm reading these cards, this one is directly across from this one. And so out of the struggle, we are finding our own power and our own personal transformation. It doesn't come from pushing it through in order to win the struggle. It comes from learning what there is to learn from the struggle and really allowing yourself to move forward in new directions. So this is a really beautiful reading because, again, it speaks to personal triumph, not from pushing against, but from learning from rising above, from really transcending all of the intensity of these emotionally charged and sometimes very draining times. So then the 5th card that I pulled, again, fire. This card is all about looking out into the future and venturing forward. And yes, 3 of Wands, again, fire. 3 is also the number of communication. And so this is actually one of my favorite cards in the deck because fire is naturally expansive and, again, speaks to adventure. 3 is communication. And so the combination of that means anything is possible. And not only that, but anything is possible through a really productive conversation with someone, because again, communication, through personal expression, through really soaring in whatever medium you work with, whether you're a painter or a gymnast or some other kind of dancer, that just the power of expression and that transcendent power of expression very much, I feel like, is embodied in that beautiful 3 of Wands. So again, the way I'm reading this, 3 of Wands is right across from the very first card I pulled, which is King of Wands. And so we have the power to venture in new directions. That's what this message says to me. We have that power, and we're taking it more often than not, which is really exciting. Just a really lovely message and a really beautiful reading. So naturally, I am the kind of reader who pulls multiple cards, has cards fall out, and of course, those are part of the reading as well, just something I've learned. So, another card that came out, this card is called The Lovers. It's a very provocative card, it's a very sexual card, but it's also about choice and balance. And so again, there's really that message that we as a collective have the choice to rise above or stay in it and feel miserable. And that's really at any given moment. I mean, sometimes the best you can do when you're in a difficult situation is to find a way to step away for a minute, and that gives you a little bit of power instead of just stewing in it or feeling trapped with someone. That's just the worst. But that too is a choice. So I feel like often when The Lovers comes up, there is that message that we have more options than maybe we even know. And it is a choice to find fulfillment in the smallest of ways, that those are empowering too. So the next card, everybody's favorite scary looking card, this is Death. Death is always about huge changes, and I feel like it's so fitting that death would come up in this reading because we are in a time of huge changes, and those can be wonderful huge changes, and those can be really difficult huge changes that we choose to make easier for ourselves. And again, we find the power in that. So that is what death is all about. And again, very fitting for this reading that huge changes would be such a theme. So then the next one, now this is an interesting card. This came up reversed. Again, fire. 4 of Wands is about celebration. And this card was reversed. And with the reversals, I don't often read them as the direct opposite of. I feel like in this case, this is energy that's on the rise. It's not there yet, but maybe we taste moments of it. I feel like it's about future celebration and being able to celebrate, being able to anticipate wanting to celebrate our own personal development and personal power in new ways. And I feel like this goes right back to my own personal revelation around freedom and recognizing things and owning them. There's a freedom in that. There's a great freedom in that. The last card that came up is the moon. And the moon, here we actually have a bit of water. The moon is really all about trusting what we know on a deep, deep level to be true. And so I feel like these last cards that came up, these last 4 cards, they speak to, once again, owning our power, listening in, and recognizing that we're going to want to celebrate all that we've achieved in these times that have just been so, so, so intense. So, wonderful job, everyone who's listening in and resonating with this. If this resonates with you, you're doing the work, you're on the right path, and just cheers to that, cheers to you. Thanks for listening in. I look forward to many more videos, and bye for now.